Well, y'all, this week a pretty big band broke up because their guitarist allegedly stole all the band's money and spent it on, quote, a truly unbelievable number of OnlyFans purchases.
What did he say?
That's crazy. But that's not even the worst thing that he did. And this got me to thinking about other truly terrible and toxic bandmates. Sometimes really great bands are ruined by one individual. So on episode 211 of Heavy Metal Philosophy, I'll go over this situation with the band Gel, and then I'll name 5 people that are even worse bandmates than this guy. Welcome, metalheads. I'm the host of Heavy Metal Philosophy and writer for Metal Digest, Jon Barbas. Make sure you stick around to the end of the episode for this week's Riff of the Week. Can you imagine? You've been grinding away for years in obscurity and poverty just to try and realize your dreams, and you're right on the cusp of making it, and one guy in the band ruins it all. Well, that's allegedly the case, according to the hardcore band Gel. They had just released a pretty well-received LP last year called Persona, and on the backs of that, they were about to go on a big, long tour with Spiritbox and then another one with Volbeat. Things were really beginning to happen for this band. But then they released one of the craziest statements I've ever read. Quote, "Hey everyone, friends and fans, Gel is no longer a band and therefore will not be playing any of our currently scheduled upcoming shows. The reason is pretty simple at its core. The former guitar player Anthony Webster has committed such heinous acts in trying to forward himself in his musical career that he's done irreparable damage to the band in the process, and it's affected us as human beings more than we can even attempt to explain, to the point of being completely unable to do the band anymore." End quote. Okay, you've got my attention. Please tell, what are these heinous acts that you speak of? Quote, "He's stolen tens of thousands of dollars from us, and the best part is that he left it all on record for us to eventually find. He spent it on his own rent, personal food orders, and really whatever else he wanted to, because for a long period of time, no one had access to the bank account, or any accounts for that matter, but him. Despite numerous attempts to gain access, because we're a band and we should have all had access to those things. Oh yeah, he also spent it on a truly unbelievable number of OnlyFans purchases and mysterious Cash App transactions, likely in the same lane." End quote. Now, at this point, I really need to ask y'all a question that I don't understand and I have never understood since I first heard of it. Why are y'all spending money on OnlyFans? I mean, listen, I love women and I completely understand being a horny pervert, but I just don't understand giving your money to OnlyFans when there's an amount of freely available adult videos that truly nobody could watch in one lifetime. Why are we giving our money away to OnlyFans? I don't understand what you're getting out of that. It's certainly not a date with any of these girls. So if somebody could enlighten me what the benefit of this is other than predation, let me know in the comments. Just kind of be moderate in your language so that the powers that be don't strike you down. But you can be clever with the way you word your comments, right? Anyway, back to the statement because it doesn't end here. Quote, "He posted nude images of band members on Reddit for the world to see. Yup, just casually, for who knows what purpose. Let that one really sink in. He did that all while still in a band with us too. By the way, luckily, he's truly terrible at covering up his tracks, so we have the receipts to prove that one too." End quote. And here's yet another kink that I just don't understand. So again, I gotta say, I understand being a horny pervert. So while it is definitely immoral to take pictures of your bandmates nude, unless of course it's consensual, once you have those pictures, you have them and you can enjoy them all by your goonish, perverted self off in your dank corner somewhere. Why are you sharing them with the internet? What do you get out of that? Now, recently, there was a controversy with another YouTuber named Destiny where he was filming himself having sex with people and sharing it with people unconsensually. What are you doing? You already had sex with the person. Why is that not good enough? What are y'all doing? And it doesn't end here. Let's get back to the statement. Quote, he put us in physically dangerous situations numerous times. From talking shit on the band Twitter and getting our van windows smashed in with a baseball bat, to regularly driving erratically like a psychopath because he was, quote, upset for, again, who knows what reason. Oh yeah, he wouldn't let anyone else drive either, by the way, so we just had to deal with it. And throwing things at us because he's a little fucking baby and can't handle himself like an adult. It was always the same with him. Absolute misery and inconsideration for anyone and everyone around him. Well, except for the people who he wanted to impress and would feign being a nice guy to. LOL. End quote. I gotta say, I've read a lot of band statements in my day, and this one is the one that reads the most to me like one of the people of the band just sat down and wrote it in a conversational style. No filtering it through the PR department. No getting the band manager and the lawyers involved. So kudos to this person for really speaking their truth. Anyway, so let's get back to the statement because this part's probably the most important part and probably will answer a lot of the questions that you listening probably have right now. Quote, now I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, well, why didn't you just stop dealing with it? Why didn't you just leave? If you've ever been in an abusive relationship, emotionally and or physically, you'll probably understand this better. It's like that, but with your life's work and passion at the forefront as well. It's not so easy to just give up something that you care so much about, especially with pressures from outside organizations, people, etc., that are all counting on you in some way. We wish that this could have been easier, and we wish that it didn't have to end this way. We're fighters though, and we saw it through to the very end until it simply couldn't go on anymore, and we're proud of that, end quote. Yeah, I mean, I talked about it in previous episodes. Being in a band with somebody is like being married to that person. It's not an easy thing to just go, well, I quit, or, well, you're fired, especially when you get past the local level. You know, at the local level, you just in a band with some of your friends, and if something's not working, yeah, you can just quit or you can fire them. But once you get past the local level, now there's contracts involved. Now there's ownership. You know, who owns the band? Is it 25%? Everybody in a 4-piece band? Is the singer own more than the hired guns? And what part of it does the manager have involvement in? Have you signed a record deal? Do you have to repay the advance? There's all sorts of factors involved. It's a legally binding sort of deal that's not so easy to get out of. And I just want to mention here that if you've made it to this level, the odds that you could just leave and join another band and once again make it to this level are slim to none. Slim to none. This is the hardest industry that there is to make it in and to make good money in. So if you're starting to head in that direction, there's no guarantees that you'll ever get here again. So people will put up with a lot in pursuit of that dream. So they close with as nice of a sentiment as you can in their statement. Quote, On that note, we'd like to send our most sincere and deepest apologies to anyone who this is affecting on a personal level and beyond. We know so many people were counting on us, including Spirit Box, Volbeat, our good friends, and Anxious. We are so sorry that we have to end it this way, and we truly hope the best for all of you. Thank you so much to the friends we've made over the years, and thank you so much to our fans for always being there for us and showing us how much you care. Take care of each other and love your friends. Love, Jill. End quote. You know, rock and roll is a crazy business full of weird people, and oftentimes drugs and alcohol are in the mix to complicate things. So we've all heard and read a lot of insane stories. But I gotta say, this is the first time I've ever seen a band end because of gooning. But you know, as wild as this story is, there are many worse ones out there, so let's go over a few of them. We'll start with another hardcore band, Lerona. We covered this before, so I'll keep it brief, but the basic gist of the story is the lead singer was dosing one of his bandmates with estrogen to try to make him seem less manly so that the singer could then go on and steal that dude's girlfriend. It all came public when they released the following statement. Quote, "We have decided to part ways with our vocalist Diego due to admission of very disturbing and concerning behavior towards one of our band members and their partner. He has admitted to being obsessed with said partner and has been attempting to sabotage their relationship by cutting pre-workout he frequently gives from his job with high amounts of estrogen in them. He's been attempting to force a transition onto him for the last 5 months in hopes that would give him the opportunity to swoop in once he looks stronger and more manly in comparison. This tampering has caused confusion and thousands of dollars in medical bills the past months trying to figure out what's wrong. We would not know any of this unless Diego had gotten way too intoxicated and ousted himself, and then stated an admission to all of us via text. There are many more disgusting details that have been left out for the sake of privacy and general censorship." End quote. So yeah, the dude in jail stealing the band's money to spend on e-girls is pretty bad, but at least he wasn't trying to force transition one of you with trans roofies. But speaking of bandmates scamming money, metalcore band Anna Lynn also broke up and had to release an astonishing statement because their singer faked having cancer and then took all the money that his bandmates and fans raised for his treatments. And notice, I didn't say allegedly here because the man himself admitted it with the following statement. Quote, "I would like to offer my sincerest apologies to everyone for everything that has transpired, especially for both the deception around my health issues and the false claims that were made. I deeply regret my actions and fully accept responsibility for the mistakes I have made. I am truly sorry for the harm and distress this has caused. The problems I have faced stem from personal financial struggles, including debts from illegal loans and poor business decisions that I failed to manage over the years. The situation escalated to the point where I couldn't see a way out, and I was placed under immense pressure, both financially and personally, which led to the mistakes I made. Unfortunately, I have betrayed the trust and kindness that so many of you have shown me. My poor decisions have impacted not only my own life, but also the lives of others around me, and I deeply regret that. I want to clarify that no one else, be it the music label, friends, my family, or my bandmates, was involved in these issues. I am now facing the consequences of my choices and have learned invaluable lessons from this experience. I'm committed to doing everything in my power to make things right and resolve this situation as quickly as possible. I understand that my words cannot undo the damage that has been done, but I want to humbly ask for your forgiveness. I am truly sorry for the pain and inconvenience my actions have caused, and I am deeply remorseful for the trust I have broken." End quote. Apparently, this band had been together for 20 years. So it just goes to show, even in that amount of time, you don't really ever truly know people. So now we've talked about theft of money and scams and gender tampering. So really the only way that a bandmate could get worse is with actual violence. At this point, everybody knows the story of Tim Lambesis. The early 2000s melodic metalcore movement launched that burgeoning genre into the mainstream. Arguably, Killswitch Engage is the most important band in that movement, but As I Lay Dying was right there with them. Imagine being in a band that important. You're actually selling records. You're playing big shows. And then you get a phone call. Bro, Tim was just arrested for attempting to hire a hitman to kill his wife. Dude, what? But Tim served his time and paid his debt to society. So when he got out of prison and wanted to reform As I Lay Dying, well, a lot of fans were willing to give him a second chance, especially considering that all of the original members had made amends with Tim and were willing to be on board with this relaunch of the band. But they wound up quitting the band, and it's like, okay, that's pretty heavy baggage to carry. That's a lot of broken trust amongst longtime friends. Maybe they just couldn't make it work out. But then every member of the next iteration of the band also quit, and they all did it mid-tour. No, something's off here, and there's only one common denominator. What's craziest of all is what Ken Sushi said in his statement. He said his, quote, "personal morals have recently been tested to a breaking point," end quote. To which I have to ask, if you willingly join a band that you know the frontman is guilty of attempted spousicide, what beyond that tested your morals? But hey, at least no one was actually killed in that story. Some bands aren't so lucky. We can't talk about the worst people in bands without talking about black metal. And one of the most infamous stories in all of heavy metal is the Mayhem story, where Euronymous, the mastermind of Mayhem, famously took photos when he found his lead singer who had just self-terminated. And not only did he circulate those pictures of his dead lead singer, but one of those pictures eventually wound up as the cover to one of their demos. And it's also rumored that he made necklaces out of fragments of that guy's skull. But you know, no good deed goes unpunished, and Euronymous was eventually murdered by his own bass player, Varg Vikernes, who is the last person on my list of the most horrible bandmates to have. I mean, how could you possibly collaborate with people and make music with people when you have to protect your lives from those people? We all want our favorite bands to be brotherhoods and sisterhoods. We love a good story about childhood friends working together and overcoming the odds. But sometimes it's just business. Journey is still touring together, even though they hate each other so much that they've hired private security to protect each other's dressing rooms from each other. That's how hard the music business is, that you'd be willing to fly and travel across the world with the worst coworkers imaginable just to keep the machine going. What a wild industry to cover. So with that said, I suppose now is a good time to pick the riff of the week. Hey, the episode's closing, and that means the riff of the week is about to play. While the riff of the week plays, why don't you mosey on down to the description below, and there you will find a link to the merch shop where you can get sweet swag like this. But you need to do it soon because it will only be available till the end of the summer. So check it out, JonBarbas-shop.fourthwall.com. Links in the description. Now let's do the riff of the week.